Okay, in this tutorial we're going to make a graphical nav bar that is like this. This is going to be one graphic, and yet it's going to be all these buttons. Notice how the eyes change when you mouse over it, and if we go far enough I'll show you how to add a bootstrap modal on these graphics. The good thing about this particular thing is that, number one, these graphics load very fast because there's only one graphic that makes all these buttons, and you'll see what I mean. Additionally, unlike your typical nav bar where everything's on a straight line, either across or down, you can put these all over the place, and in fact, if you think about it enough, you will be able to do something like this. Even move these graphics around using animation and sound and everything else. And so you can move them around. All these skulls are on one graphic. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, you go to the tool, the animation tool on Moose Loose, and you go to Sprite Navigation. Okay, you see these buttons here? All these buttons are really one graphic. For instance, this map. The map is over here. It's pink. When you mouse over it, it goes down to this yellow one, and when you click it, it goes down to the pink one. So it's the same thing with the location. Location, and when you mouse over it, you get the yellow. When you click it, it gets red. But it's all made up of this one image. Okay, I'll show you how to do that. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Illustrator, and I'm going to make a button made out of this bird that I did. Don't worry about the art. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to determine, let's say our buttons are going to be 100 by 100. Why do I pick 100 by 100? Because it's better at math. Alright, so since I'm going to have 5 buttons, that means that my graphic has to be 500 pixels wide. That is 100 pixels wide per button, and then 300 down, because each button is going to have a mouse over and an active. So 500 wide, 300 down. Okay, there we go. And here it is. Let me get rid of some of these things that we might not need. Alright, I'm going to turn on my grid, and you'll see that I set it to be the grid lines are 100 pixels apart. I did that by going to Illustrator Preferences, Guides and Grid, and making the guideline every 100 pixels with 2 subdivisions. That's what gives us this lighter line in between the 2 subdivisions. So 100 pixels, a grid line every 100 pixels with 2 subdivisions, and this is what we get. Alright, let's start by getting our bird. And pasting him in. Okay, so now I have to fit him in so that he will be within the 100 by 100 square. So you gotta make sure the beak's not there. Alright, so let's go down. I'll move him right here, and I'm gonna move him so that, for the sake of accuracy, I'm gonna see if I can make these I should probably group them. Yeah, let me group them. So that these side handles will be right on that line. I want to center them. You'd be amazed at how important this particular stage is, and I'm going to make these vertical squares even with the line by holding shift and kind of dragging them over. Okay. There. So you can see that the horizontal lines intersect the squares, the handles, and the vertical That way I know that this bird is absolutely centered. Alright, so I'm going to create my 5 buttons now. I'm going to move this guy over, holding shift. Kind of get to where it might be. Command D, Command D, Command D. I'm going to set, I'm going to go and make sure that they're all centered just the right way. Okay, close enough. Ooh, this guy's way over. So let me move him over. There. Ah, perfect. Notice how the squares line up with the center line. Move them over. The more accurate you are here, the less you're going to see the image jump as you mouse over and as you click. So let me just move it over. There we go. There. Absolutely perfect. So these are going to be the buttons in their rest state. So they're all going to have green eyes. Then I will select them, hold my shift, drag straight down. Oops, I forgot to do the option. I'm going to hold my option right before I release. I'm going to zoom in on one of them and move them down so that the square just about crosses. Yeah, it's okay if there's a little bit of junk. Okay, lines through, they're going to move up a little bit, but that's okay. We don't care. Okay, so those are our mouse overs. And now we'll grab these. And now we have to create the active. We'll hold my shift, drag down, hold option before I release, zoom in, make sure that they're just about the way they were before. Ooh. Okay, that'll be close enough. Okay, so let's make the eyes turn colors when you mouse over them. Let's this might be a little bit grueling, but it could be informative. I'm going to double click I'm going to isolate the eye. Oops, it's still not isolated as much as I need. There we go. And I'm going to make this one red. So when you mouse over this eye, it's going to turn red. Good. Good. So in the rest state, the eye is going to be green. When I mouse over it, there we go. Let's change this one, I don't know, to blue maybe. Alright, so that one's going to be blue. Let's make it. There we go. How about a yellow? Let's make it yellow. Whoa. I think I'm going to leave the green a little bit on there. That should be fine. Let's see. How about an orange? So click, click, click until it's in isolation mode. Let's see. How about purple? Yeah. Okay. What the heck? Ooh. Yeah, that's too much like the rain. Alright. So we can see. Oh, oops, got one more. Come on. Gotcha. And let's see what other colors here. Maybe, I don't know. What don't we have? I suppose we could do an orange. That might be kind of cool, orange with the green. So let's do it. What the heck? Alright. So you can see that they all are going to have a green eye when you mouse over them. The colors are going to change. That pink is like the red, but well. Okay. So let's turn these into navigation buttons. I'm going to call this home. I gotta find something other than this. Not that I have anything against this particular font. Yeah, it's pretty good. Do this home. And I'll move it over, move it somewhere else. Let's move that. Let's move it here, home. Right here. I'm going to change this to about. As long as it stays within those lines, that's what's critical here. Move this over here. And how about content? Oops. Let's do that. Why do you let me do this all the time? Content. Beautiful. Really pretty nice font, this one. How about something maybe with the feather. How about staff? Yeah, staff would be good. We could actually put them above, doesn't matter. Will that fit within that 100 pixels? Will it? Well, yes it will. Alright, so there's our buttons. We'll move them down so that they'll kind of move around when you mouse over them. Just a little bit. Maybe go up a little bit. And then we'll move them down here. Now maybe we'll do something with these heads down here. Maybe we'll, when you click on them, they'll move maybe up and twirl around randomly. So they'll look down. It doesn't matter. But when you have time, you'll be able to do some great and wonderful things. This is really quick just for the tutorial purpose. Maybe we'll just have it go up. And one more. Alright, so basically we have the top row is our buttons in the rest state. The second row is in the hover state, and the third row is in the active state. So I'm going to save for the web. Always save for the web. And PNG files are great for this purpose because you'll see the texture of your header or your nav bar or whatever you do through the graphic. Okay, so we see it's 500 by 300. 500 because there's 5 100 by 100 pixel graphics, and 3 because there are 3 states. Okay, let's save. I'll save it in my demo. I'll call it birds PNG. Remember that? Because I probably want birds. Now let's go to our tool. Okay, here's the animated, the Sprite nav. We're going to call this our bird nav. This is just going to name the div that it's in with a class. Then the width will be 100 by 100. That's what our buttons are. So you could go in there and make these whatever size you want. I'm doing 100 by 100 because the math is easy for me. The graphic is going to be birds. .png. You thought I wasn't going to remember. And how many buttons are there? Well, there's 5. Okay, so I'm going to get the code. So here's a span. You can call it whatever you want as long as there's no spaces or special characters. Our buttons are going to be 100 by 100. The graphic is going to be birds PNG, and there's 5 buttons, so I'm going to get the code. Holy mackerel! So you can see that the red goes into style sheet, and the blue goes into your div. Remember we did the bird nav? Well, there it is. Okay, I'm just going to grab it all, just like this. I'm going to go to Dreamweaver. I'm going to create a new file. I'm just going to close all that. I should just close all of these. I'll just create a new one. Okay. It's going to be an HTML. And at first I'm going to paste this in the body. There they are. They're beautiful. And of course, you know, the style goes in the head section. So I'm just going to copy that or cut it, and I'm going to put it in the head section. So that's the CSS. That's actually going to make it work. And here's my buttons. Okay, I'm going to save it. File, save as. Here's my desktop. Demo. I'm going to save it as index, I think. There we go. And if we go take a look-see, we can see our beautiful graphics with the mouse over where they turn the eyes. There you go. So that is as far as we've gotten. We have the mouse overs. Now, of course, when you click them, they'll do their crazy jumping around or whatever. So that's kind of cool. Okay, but this is still kind of a boring nav. They're all in a row, just like your typical nav. But look, inside the code, when you get up here to this part, you can see that these birds are set in a position absolutely within the bird nav. And so I can go over here and I can move them around. Like this one, I'll make 100 pixels from the top. Maybe this one 56 pixels from the top, and maybe this one 75 pixels from the top, and maybe I'll move this one down to 110 pixels from the top, and then maybe this one I'll do back to 80. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is moving these guys around. So when I take a look in Firefox now, they are all different heights from the top of the page. I can even move them over. Like for instance, this one is 400. I can move it 450, move it way over. I can move this one 120. They could even overlap. And so let's save it and take a look. Okay, so you see how they overlap, and so you can get this real informal looking navigation scheme. But the interesting thing here is if we were to view this graphic, we would see that it is all that one graphic that is just being moved around. Okay, so there it is. You could turn off the video now if you wish. Otherwise, I'm going to go on to show you how to do a bootstrap. That is, when you click it, that little screen will come down and you can put whatever you want in there. Okay, let's go back to the tool. Here it is. Okay, so this is here's the code that made that happen. Now look, here's the bootstrap modals. That's when you click it that that little screen comes down. So what to say? Put this in the head, which I will do right now. Here's the head. I can put it right above the style, which is also in the head. Then I'm going to go back to the tool. And here it says replace the buttons with this. Notice that there is a commented tag, begin buttons, end buttons. I'm going to copy that. And look, inside, here it is, begin buttons, end buttons. So I'm just going to paste that in there, just like that. And what it does is it replaces those buttons with bootstrap code. And then I'm going to go back to the tool, and it says put this at the bottom of the page. Well, we only have 5, so I think it made a whole bunch more than 5. Oh no, it didn't even make 5. So I'm just going to grab these, and I'm going to put it way in the bottom, past the last div, just like that. Now, when I click upon this, you will see it created my beautiful nav, but when I click on it, I have these beautiful drop downs that come down. So you could have an interesting page with just these animated graphics and basically have this drop down. Okay. Now you can go in and you could stylize this. For example, if you go back to the tool, you'll see further on it says style for pop-up. You can grab that CSS there, take it to Dreamweaver, put it in the style CSS. So it's easy to actually change those modals. Let me hit save, and I go back to the page. You can see it. You can create. You can change the color if you want it more opaque, so you can see through it. This modal right here, I'm just going to change it to Z. That'll take it out of consideration. So when we go back to our page and refresh, of course, you can see there's more or less that opaque thing going on in the background. And to add HTML to those modals, you just go down there, down to the bottom, and I'm going to find the first one. You can see this is the title for home for bird nav 001. I'm just going to put home, and this is where I can put all of my content. This is the home page, and I'm just going to copy that a bunch of times and paste in there just so you can see how easy it is to manipulate those modals. There. So you can see that you can put all kinds of information connected to these goofy looking graphical nav bars. Further, if you go to the tool and you go down here, you can change the color coding of those modals. For example, I'm going to paste that here. And the background color to the first one will be, I don't know, let's make it red. Oops, foo. And then the second one will be green. And then the next one, we can make it pink. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I think that's pink. And then we'll have another one that's black. And then we'll have another one that'll be that some kind of, well, how about a crazy blue. All right, and then the last one will be maroon. It's okay. That's all we need. We only need 5 of them, since we only have 5 buttons and 5 modals. Let me save it. Go back to our nav. Look at our page now. There's the blue. Oh, what happened? Didn't I save it? Blue. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I know it probably happened. This probably has to go underneath. It probably has to go at the end, or else all the other colors will override it. That's what it is. I know what I was thinking. Black, pink, green, red. I think these are just dark blues. Anyway, so you can customize these guys. Okay, so that's basically how you use and prepare graphics for the Sprite Nav.